Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We got the Metacritic score, so the reviews are in for Kirby Air Riders. These are based off of about 64 critic reviews as of the making of this video, so I feel like it's fair to make this video because there's quite a bit of reviews out there. So anyway, without further ado, let's go over to Metacritic and let's look at these reviews. Alright, so here we are over on Metacritic, and before we get started, if you like the content, hit the subscribe button, leave a like down below. I always forget to say that because it annoys me when other people say it. But anyway, so Siliconra gave it 100. It's the only perfect score on here. They say, I knew I'd like Kirby Air Riders since I enjoyed the GameCube original, but I didn't expect the game to feel stronger than Mario Kart World. It's so enjoyable and robust, there's room for both racers on the Switch too, of course, but if I had to pick a favorite and never touch the other game again, I'd pick Kirby Air Riders every time. Okay, that's a pretty strong review. Nintendoers gave it a 95. And I'm not going to read every single review. I'm just going to read the top ones, around the middle ones, and then obviously the low ones, because we want to see why people hated it too, because there's some pretty low scores on here too. Alright, Nintendoers says, Kirby Air Riders lands on Nintendo Switch 2 as the comeback nobody expected. But once it's in your hands, it feels almost inevitable. Sakurai brings back the experimental essence of Kirby Air Ride and boosts it with the ambition of a modern console. More modes, more characters, more vehicles, and a flood of ideas that keep the formula alive without betraying its spirit. That is so hard to do, like with a sequel. So that's a really good score. And then we'll look at this one real quick. Terra Gamer gave it a 91. They say Kirby Air Riders shines with creative and accessible gameplay that evolves from simple to deep. Once again, showcasing Sakurai's brilliance. It's a one-button mechanics, varied modes, addictive progression, and extensive unlockable content make it a fun, solid, and surprisingly complete experience. A unique title that stands out for its style, pacing, and personality. So that's a really good one. Then we got a bunch of 90s. And if we go down here, there is a ton of 80s. And I feel like that's where the consensus is that it's an 80. So basically an 8 out of 10 game. So let's see. Nintendo Life. They're pretty huge. I follow them quite a bit and I really like them. So let's see what they had to say about it. Nintendo Life gave it an 80. They said Kirby Air Riders is a cracking sequel that gives solo players much more to dig into with its story campaign. Willist also bringing all new levels of shiny graphics, bells and whistles to its returning city trial, air ride, and top-down racing modes. This is a chaotic and frenzied racer. There's no doubt, but it's got depth for those who wish to learn it, and plenty of competition to be had both online and at harder difficulties for diehards, with lots of excellent tracks, riders, and mechanics to unlock, set alongside some surprisingly deep machine customization. Kirby's latest air riding adventure is off to a strong start. Oh, and that soundtrack. So Nintendo Life gave it a pretty decent score. They have a lot of nice things to say about it. That's pretty cool. Shack News, we'll read one more 80, and then we'll go down to the low scores. Trying to find one that's like a pretty mainstay. Let's go with GameSpot. They're pretty big game site. They gave it an 80. GameSpot gave it an 80. So Kirby Air Riders is an impressive package that makes the most of its deceivingly simple mechanics. Air Ride delivers a solid kart racing experience. Top Ride is a fun, albeit a bit straightforward distraction. City Trial is a chaotic in the best way possible. The road trip ties it all together with its creative encounters and satisfying progression. In the second Kirby Air Riders Direct, Masahiro Sakurai said he had no plans to continue the franchise or add any DLC. When I first heard this, I was a little disappointed, but now that I've spent countless hours exploring each mode, there's not really anything else I could want. This feels like that initial concept from 2003 taken as far as it could possibly go, and I couldn't be happier with the result. Wow. Yeah, it feels like, just based off those directs, he put everything he possibly could in this game. So I think it's a one and done. That's it. This is it. He got to do a mulligan and try over from the GameCube one, which I think is funny. Oh, and IGN, that's a huge website. Okay, so IGN gave it an 80. It says, I'm not sure what's crazier, the fact that Kirby Air Riders exists or the fact that it's this great. It's a blast in local or online multiplayer during its traditional races and unique battle mode, and it's frankly absurd amount of fun achievements to chase. Meaningful unlockables and deep customization makes it great for solo players. The biggest hurdle to enjoying its dizzying amount of content is how it all controls. It, as its frantic pace and slippery one-button control scheme is endearingly novel, but occasionally too simple for its own good. Air Riders just can't help itself in sticking a little too closely to its original blueprint at times, making it not as approachable to pick up and play as Mario Kart, and not as technically rewarding or competitively viable as a fighting game like Super Smash Bros. But if you're willing to go along for the ride, you're in for a chaotic action racing game that's a great time with friends and offers a ton to do on your own. Wow. Sounds like a lot of complaints about the simple controls, but they love everything else about it, which is kind of funny. All right, so let's go down to some of the lower scores, and then we'll end the video here. So there's some 70s, some 65s, and then there's a 40. Let's look at this one that says 40. It says Metro Game Central. This is the lowest score so far. It says the most baffling Nintendo release of recent years, with a quasi-remake of one of GameCube's worst games that seems specifically designed to irritate and confuse would-be players. Wow, they clearly did not like the game. That's pretty funny. The comic book gave it a 60. It says, even with a ton of collectibles to unlock and challenges to take on, I can't see myself returning to Kirby Air Riders much in the future. This is a racer that tries to buck many of the genre's most traditional conventions, which at very least makes it quite memorable. Ultimately, though, the content on hand in Air Riders wears thin in no time, which leads to it being a game that you'll put down sooner than you might anticipate. So, feels like your mileage will vary based on if you like the gameplay loop or how it plays or what you're doing in it. Like if you love Kirby, you'll probably like the game. I played Air Riders on the original GameCube, and I couldn't stand the game, mainly because it was so bare bones and there wasn't much to do. And I was really hoping that we would get a 3D Kirby game, kind of like our 3D Mario or our 3D Metroid and all that kind of stuff. But Kirby always stayed 2D all the way up until the Switch. So I was like, why didn't Kirby get his platforming game, like 3D platforming game, like all the other mascots did? And I was really annoyed by that. But Kirby Air Riders, I think, was the first time Kirby was in 3D because, you know, you could get off the Air Rider thingy, the Power Star, whatever the hell it's called, and walk around. I thought that was really cool. I'm like, why isn't this just an action game or a platformer or whatever? Instead, it became a racing game. So I ended up trading the game in like right away. So I think I only played it for like 2-3 hours, maybe 4. Played it for one day, and that was enough for me. I never touched it again. So I'm not too sure if I want to spend $70 on its sequel. It looks super fun. I'm a big Kirby fan, but I don't know. And it's not because of the reviews. It's just because I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. And it's $70. If you have a Costco membership, it's $64.99. It's on their website. I don't know if the stores are going to get it too, but yeah, if you have a Costco membership, you could save $5. So keep that in mind. Anyway, so how do you feel about this? Do these reviews sway you one way or the other? Were you a big fan of the original? If so, sound off the comments below. Thank you for watching, and stay frosty.